I feel like somebody's watching me.
Last thing you should have seen was the engine coming out of the car. The video might not have been pretty good, but that's because it happened at like 11 o'clock on a weeknight. So by the time my buddy was able to come over with his cherry picker to pull it out, it was already pretty late. So I just kind of threw the cameras out, tried to get some footage, yank it, and then take it back to his house so we could get to sleep. Gotta get up early in the morning. But the motor's now out. Nice, dirty, grimy engine bay cross member. So we're just gonna pull the handful of things that are left in here, like the oil filter relocation, oil lines, all fuel lines, the harness. I don't know if I'll completely pull out of the car, like out of the firewall and everything yet. Just want to get most of it out. I'd like to pull the master and the booster and all that stuff. We just gotta empty the bay so I can get a thorough cleaning and then figure out what I'm gonna do as far as paint, how many holes am I gonna fill, a little bit of rust repair on the frame rails, which is common on these cars. But yeah, we're just gonna start cleaning stuff up, wiping it down, and pulling suspension too. Since the crossmember has to come out, I might just pull coil, steering knuckle, calipers, just the whole corners off for the front suspension, and then we'll probably get into the bay after that. So let the time lapse begin. Probably just saw that time lapse if I'm even in frame of pulling apart the right front suspension. Excuse me. I'll show you a little bit on the left side. Pretty basic. I have a feeling most of you pulled it apart. If not, really easy, hard to mess up. More details when you put it back together, which we'll go through that when that time comes. But essentially, first you're going to attempt to get some light so you can see. Let's see. I'm gonna hit my head on that. Alright, so everything's together. Get your wheel off, carp on jack stands. First thing you'll do. These are Q45 calipers, so a little bit different than the factory 241s, but it's about the same thing. Pull them apart. 2 17 mils there and there. Pull those out. Or just loosen them. Loosen your brake line. Drain the fluid or have a pan underneath. You'll pull the 2 17s out. Caliper comes off. 2 19s. Probably can't see, but they are right here and one further down. Those are the caliper bracket, which is this piece. Then you'll pull those 2 19s out. Bracket comes off. Obviously, I pull lug nuts. Rotor comes off. Pop out your brake line clip. That'll come off. Then we'll get to the tie rod, which is probably too dark for you to see. But should be a cotter pin, castle nut. Knock that out. It's on a taper, so you hit the either hit the side of the knuckle or you can hit the top, but make sure you back the nut off so you don't mushroom the thread, so you have a heck of a time getting the nut off. Then you'll do the same thing with the ball joint on the lower control arm. And then last but not least, the 2 that hold the upright to the strut or the coilover. And then the upright will come off, coilover come off. Then you'll just be sitting there with tension rod. This guy, 19s or 17, can't remember. And then tension rod bolts to the lower control arm there, which I believe is 2 17s or 14s. Then the sway bar link, that'll come off, 2 14s there, sway bar comes off, 17s there, lower control arm comes off, and that'll pretty much be it. So for now we'll do the time lapse of taking it all apart. I see you're just going to see me going in there with the impact and wrenches and stuff, pulling stuff apart little by little. And then we'll talk again once we get the corner off. Here we are, so everything's out. So tension rod, lower control arm, upright, strut, said, rack's about the only thing left. As you can see in here, a little bit of damage. You can see that we will do some repair. And yeah. And fill some of these other pointless holes. Not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I want to just put a plate on the outside of the car or what yet. Or, I mean, put a plate like on the inside and just weld like a strip or stitch weld it. Or actually go in here and then like try to make little patches for each hole, weld them and grind them. Not really the show car type, so like a full sheet metal, perfect bodywork, bondoed, fitted, everything isn't really my style. I just want to try to keep some of the dirt and BS from the wheel well area from going in the bay. So I did one rain event last year, and this hole right here we're going to have to do something about because just tons of dirt and water went up through there and just like covered the bay. So do something about this guy. All these little random holes. A lot of them might just get like plastic plugs. Not a whole reason like to weld everything up, but like down there it's kind of like Swiss cheese a little bit. So down there I might, like I said, do a strip or something instead of just having a ton of plastic plugs right next to each other. And then here I'll clean this up, figure out if we got any good frame rail here, which see the screwdriver. About to see how bad it is. Survey says it's pretty bad. So with that being said, this area can't make it much worse, so no harm in trying. Yeehaw, this is gonna be fun. Corners pulled. Steering column. Or universal joint pulled off the rack, which is a pain. It's pretty rusty. Trick if you gotta hit something with a hammer and it's kind of delicate and it's steel, use a piece of aluminum, like a piece of solid bar or something. I mean, it's like one step up from wood and doesn't split, and you can hit on stuff pretty good. It transfers a lot of the force, but at the same time it won't, sure shouldn't damage the steel because the aluminum's a lot softer. So essentially the aluminum will take the smacks and stuff, and it'll keep you from actually like marring up or impacting hard to the point where you're gonna. So if you hit the aluminum on steel, the aluminum will disform instead of the steel. So the punch gets torn up, not the steel part. I thought I was gonna take this up through the bay. I will say either the tie rods on there makes this a little longer than normal. There she is. Here's the rack. This is one of the big reasons why I'm doing this, although you can drop this with, you can pull the rack with the engine in it and stuff. Rob? Yeah. I don't know if you can pull it. I know you can pull the mounts off, I don't know if you can actually slide it out. I think you can. But pull it, so I gotta modify the cross member. I'm gonna slide this forward like a ½ inch, so hopefully that fixes my over center issue. And at the same time, I'm just gonna put poly mounts. These rubber guys are really soft, so I want to try to stiffen everything up a little bit. Honestly, this guy looks pretty new, but we're replacing them anyway. Might as well since we're in here. I think that's it for today, guys. We got both the corners gone, racks out, obviously the corners gone too. It's a selection of parts that came out. One interesting thing, this isn't something I really pay too much attention to. I have 10 basic coilovers. This is specific if you only run these, or just in general. So if you mix parts, so these use the factory top hat, which it has a rubber isolator in it. Oh man, I gotta sneeze. this thing is right on the edge there for a minute. Oh, I hated that little delay. So I ran top hats from my buddy's old coilovers. I think they were KTS. Something I didn't really notice or pay enough attention to when I was putting them together, because I had to make the spacers and stuff for them to fit the shaft diameter for this specific strut. The screws that hold the camber plates protruded a little bit too long. They might have been sticking out like 4 or 5 millimeters, and they were catching the top hat. Now, I think when the car was sitting, it was fine, but as the tires go through the rotation and the arc is a McPherson strut, this will lean. And I think the screws will obviously were catching it at different points. And I'm hoping that was why I had coil bind. Because they should spin free on the monoball and the top hat, but they might not under pressure, the weight of the car and everything. And I was gonna get thrust washers, a needle bearing thrust washer, and put it underneath the spring, right there where the nylon is, so it would rotate freely. Because at the last event, my car would lower itself throughout the day. I noticed, like, at first I thought it was just because it's parked on the grass, like one side looked a little bit lower, and then all of a sudden, after a few more runs, it's like I'm tucking a good amount of tire, and that's not how I run my car. And the other side still has, you know, about a finger gap or so. So I realized, so because it wasn't able to spin freely, it was actually lowering the strut because it was spinning the spring, which spun on the lock rings, which is taking the preload off of the spring and lowering the car. So if you mix parts with suspension, pay really close attention to them, because something as simple as having these 4 Allens protrude 4 millimeters, when it leans over, it would catch the hat, obviously causing an issue. So I trimmed those down a little bit. I'm still debating whether or not I want to spend the money on a thrust washer, and then I know I won't have any coil bind. It'll spin very free. Depending on what they cost, I might go ahead and do it anyway. But just some good little detail stuff when you're pulling stuff apart, looking for marks, wears, anything that's out of the ordinary. But yeah, I think it's a solid 4 hours or so of just ripping all the parts out. This is what I'll do next. I'll take this to work and get it cleaned up. Then we'll cut around here, slide everything forward, and weld it back up. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. So once I start posting these, you guys have any questions, I'll answer them. Like I said, we found I knew there was bad rust there, but it's pretty big, so this will probably be a sizable patch. And also down there in the frame rails too, you can see it's been patched before and there's a hole that didn't get covered. I'll take the time to clean a lot of it up, or at least as much as I can in the time I have. It's not like I can't do it later. But yeah, that's it. I think the next video will probably be me starting on the cross member. And I mean, I still gotta pull all the wiring out of the bay, so I don't know. Whatever I feel like doing next. We'll just keep taking videos and posting them. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, let me know.